Don't let the world get you down much further. You've got so much to give, so much life to live. He'll fill your every need, give you joy exceed.
Hello, Lily. Hi, Lily. Ngozi, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm just going to see if anybody else logs in. Happy Sunday to you all. And so I'm doing this, I'm on Facebook. So Facebook Live, and I'm actually on my husband's equipment today for the first time. There's a lot of technical stuff, but hey, so I understand that I'm live streaming to different parts of the world as well. So good afternoon, good morning to all the listeners wherever you are. Happy Sunday to you all. Happy Sunday to you all. And so I'm going to begin. Just want to tell you a little bit about who I am. So I am Victoria Griffith. I am a transformational life skills strategist. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I am the founder and director of a company called Spectacular Woman. And essentially, I work with women to help them to overcome, to heal, to unlock that greatness that lies within them, so ultimately they can amplify their lives and achieve the things that they want. I also work with young people through my LiveWise program, which is really about teaching young people about how they can have healthy and safe relationships and to really kind of set them up for a life well lived. So that's who I am and that's what I do. So timing is everything. You know, I'm a big believer that everything always happens in the right divine order. And I believe that, you know, timing is everything. So, you know, for those that I've logged in, and I'm hoping that more and more people join. And for those that are listening to me on the live stream, there's a reason for you to be here today. And greetings to you, Mr. Griffith. Thank you for joining as well. So, you know, I believe that everything happens in the right divine order. And there's a reason for you being here today. And so, you know, I just really want to share, you know, aspects of, you know, where I've come from to where I am today. So over the years, you know, I've been able to acquire multiple degrees, currently a school governor in a pupil referral unit. So for those of you that may not know what a pupil referral unit is, it's for kids that have challenging behavior, emotional, behavioral problems. And this is quite funny. It's quite ironic because I actually used to be in a pupil referral unit when I was a teenager. So it's funny how life can come full circle. And me actually being a troubled teen, I am actually a school governor where I can help young people in terms of, you know, looking at their educational development and also contributing to plans that help them to develop and grow so that their educational journey is successful. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so school governor. I also taught social policy, sociology for over a decade and teaching sociology. And last year, I actually got an award, Freedom for Women Advocate Award, and that's all to do with the work that I do to support women, to help them to heal and overcome after domestic violence. So that's me now. And, you know, I didn't say that all to brag about who I am, but to point out, you know, where I have come from to where I am today. And obviously I'll share a little bit more about that. You know, I'm quite proud of what I've achieved, but, you know, my life wasn't always like that. And, you know, there was a time when I didn't even know who I was. You know, my confidence was so low, my self-esteem, and that had to do with me being in an abusive relationship where I experienced psychological, emotional, and physical abuse. So, you know, it's interesting and for me, and I think it's really, really important for me to share that so people know where I'm coming from. Just also touching on me as a troubled teen. I actually dropped out of school at the age of 15, and I know for some people might be shocked to think, oh my God, wow, but yeah. So there was two aspects to my life that were really challenging for me as a young person. Left school at 15, didn't have any qualifications, and then I ended up in an abusive relationship, where I experienced all of these things that I just talked about. So today, I really, really want to talk about how do you get over the emotions caused by abuse. And the reason why I want to talk about that is, for years, even after I came out of that relationship, there were aspects of my life where I felt stuck, felt really challenged, kind of living in that past pain, not really knowing how to deal with it, still having issues with being confident and so forth. And so hence the reason that I do the work that I do to help women to heal. But, for some individuals, it can be a very painful place. Not being able to get over that emotion that you experience when you've come out of something traumatic. And that could be anything, a traumatic experience can mean different things to different people. It doesn't necessarily have to be domestic violence. It could be something else. And so it's challenging and it can be painful. So, I have got some notes because I'm very detailed in terms of what I want to talk about today. So, and I really want people to grasp what I'm saying. So I've got some notes with me. I'm not gonna, pretend that everything is coming. I really want to be able to relay the right message in terms of how people can get over that emotion, once they've experienced abuse. So if you're in a place in your life right now where you feel that you're stuck, you find it hard to say no to people, and you feel like you've totally lost your confidence, and you're also finding it hard to make decisions on your own. You might be somebody that procrastinates about stuff. You really, really want to get stuff done. And that could be anything. It could be maybe, just enrolling in a college course. It could be, starting a gym. It could be anything. But, procrastination is something that can hold you back. And wherever you are in your life, think about that. Are you somebody that is holding back on yourself because of a past event? Yeah, because you've been hurt, because you've had some pain that you have not been able to overcome and let go of. And, for me, this is really, really important because it can affect so many areas of your life. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. Not understanding how this can affect your life, the fact that we are not able to overcome the emotions, which is caused by some form of traumatic experience or abuse, can hinder so many areas of your life. And it can affect your relationships, with your co-workers, with friends. It can affect your money. When we talk about money, finances, in terms of you having an impaired, making impaired decisions. So you're not able to focus in a way. You don't have clarity over the things that you want to do. And so because you're feeling all of this pain and it's weighing you down, it starts to affect your money in terms of you thinking or knowing that you want to go for a promotion of some sort in maybe in your workplace or even, wanting to reskill yourself for a new position that may be opening in your job, or even maybe starting your own business or writing a book, anything. The important thing is that when we have pain and emotions that we're holding on to, it can block us. It can block us and it can stop us from progressing. It doesn't allow us to be who we want to be, to achieve the things that we want to achieve, because it messes with us. It messes with us mentally. It messes with our emotions. We begin to make decisions that are not the best, and so forth. So it's about understanding how we can get over that. And so today, I really want to explore what it means to overcome those emotions called abuse. And I'm going to be covering 3 areas briefly. Yeah. And I say briefly because I cover this more in depth when I teach my Heal Your Heart 6 Steps to Healing Your Heart program. So towards the end, or at any point as I'm going through, please email me or drop me a message, and it can be something that maybe you, if it's something that you feel that you want to pursue further, then absolutely, do that. And at the end, actually, I'm going to be offering something very special for those of you that might be interested, or for those of you that might be going through or are experiencing some of the things that I'm talking about. Hi, Vicky. Thanks for joining. Glad you're with me. So, as I said before, I'm going to be covering 3 areas, and just briefly. Okay, so the first area is about letting go of self-blame and the various steps that you can take to change how you feel about yourself. So that's going to be step 1. Then we're going to be looking at step 2 in terms of bottling up that anger. What does it do to you when you bottle up anger? My God, we're going to explore that a little bit as well. And then obviously step 3, how to see yourself from a different perspective. And I think step 3 is really, really key. It's really, really important. And let's get started. So when we look at step 1, letting go of self-blame. So many times when women, men, because when we're talking about abuse, both males and females can experience it. Okay, it's definitely a higher percentage for women and girls in comparison to men and boys. But when we're looking at overcoming those emotions, we really need to start thinking about how it interferes with how we're feeling and how it can impair some of our judgment. And it's about understanding that you are not to blame. You are not to blame. And the issue, for some women, for some individuals, they blame themselves. Oh, didn't I do enough? What was it that I could have done different? And to an extent, sometimes you end up changing yourself for just so that people can accept you, so that you can be liked, so that your whoever, partner, boyfriend, husband can accept you. But the fact of the matter is, people need to learn that they need to be themselves. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for joining. Gosh, I haven't seen you in a long time, girl. Thank you so much for joining me. So yeah, when I'm talking about self-blame, this is a big issue. And when we begin to blame ourselves for things that have happened to us because somebody has mistreated us or somebody has treated us badly, it becomes a problem. And that can really shake you to the core when you're not able to step out of that zone and really begin to analyze, well, what did I do? As opposed to think that you are the problem. Now, if we're going back and I'm talking about domestic violence, yeah, or dating relationship violence, then, and somebody's hitting you, slapping you, punching you, putting you down, calling you names, trying to control you, then who's to blame? You can't be to blame for that. You are not the person that is doing all of these things. It's it's the perpetrator, whether it's your boyfriend, whether it's your girlfriend, because like I said, it's not just about men perpetrating on the women. It can also be women doing it to men. So a huge problem. But the point that I want to make is that you are not to blame. You are not to blame. And linked to that, sometimes people condemn themselves for it. So if something has happened to you, we've got to stop all that condemning, stop the blaming, and figure out what it is, what steps that we can take to get ourselves in a place where we can be happy again, where we can start to live in a way that we feel free and comfortable to be who we are. Okay? And I think the most important thing as well is for people to understand that it's never your fault. It's never your fault. Sometimes you could be made to feel like it's your fault. So say, for example, you bring your partner some food and they're not happy with the food on the plate, or they're not happy with the presentation. For somebody to put you down or call you names and shout at you because of that's not nice. And so to be respectful if they're not happy with what you've done, that's a different ball game, and that's more respectful than for somebody to put you down because of something that you have done. And in some cases, when we're looking at women that may have experienced abuse or are in abusive relationships or controlling relationships, they're probably doing their best. And in some cases, they can never, ever live up to the expectations of the man. And I know, I know about that. No matter what you do, you can never, ever live up to the expectations of that man. Hi, Anastasia. How are you? All the way from Nigeria. I greet you, my sister. So it's important for us to understand that it's not your fault. It's never your fault. It's nothing that you've done wrong. And so this also links with, blaming yourself, condemning yourself, and thinking that you are the one you are to blame for all of this. My next point is for you to not feel guilty as well. And I talk about guilt because lots of women experience this after they've left an abusive relationship. And guilt, oh my God, that's the worst. That's the most crippling thing that we can do, to walk around feeling guilty about something that we didn't even do. We had no control over. We can't control other people. We can only control ourselves, our thinking, and so forth. But to walk around carrying guilt, thinking that, it's your fault why this has happened to you. Yeah, that is the most damaging thing, I think, that you can walk around with. And that's a big sin. Do you know what I mean? And so it's important for us to understand. So then you can begin to really identify where these emotions are coming from. If you're able to look or to step out of that box and to let go of self-blame, to let go of the condemning, to see yourself as the one that's not at fault, like blaming yourself, and stop feeling guilty, you can begin to identify these emotions that could be paralyzing you, because these are all different types of emotions that can paralyze an individual and can literally grind you down and turn you into something that you're not, and can start to affect you in so many different ways. Yeah. So the next step I want to talk about, step 2. So when we look at bottled up anger, oh my God, how does this affect you? How does this affect individuals that bottle up anger? Okay, so I'm seeing some comments here. So Deborah, you've written, the shame and guilt can be overwhelming. Absolutely. And it can cause so many ailments within the body, not only psychologically, emotionally, it's, I don't even know where to begin, but walking around with shame and guilt is something that, all I can say, it's crippling, it's paralyzing, and it can really send people into a really, really dark place. And this is what I'm going to talk about when I'm looking at step 2, when we're looking at bottled up anger, because not being able to have that outlet and to let go of the blame, the condemning, thinking that you are at fault, you do end up bottling it up. Yeah. And you walk around with that. And so how does this internalize itself? One of the things that I've talked about, and I've written this in my book, Unshakable You. Yeah. To be honest, I mean, I actually plucked out what I'm talking about today from my book because, you know, my book isn't only about domestic violence, but the key essence of it is about helping women to overcome and heal from domestic violence. And so it's important for people to understand that you can overcome, and there are various things in that book that can help you to really let go. I've got some exercises in there. I coach through it. And, you know, I've had different people read the book. I've had women that have not even experienced domestic violence and have found something useful in there for themselves. You know, I mean, I'm not going to go into all aspects of the book, but if it's something that you're interested in, you know, by all means, please go onto Amazon and buy it there. But going back to bottled up anger. My goodness, one of the things that I always say is, if you bottle up the anger, it ends up coming out sideways. And what do I mean by that? I mean that it then it manifests itself into other things. So people may become addicts, you know, start using alcohol or drugs. You know, they begin to lash out on people. If you've got children, you know, sometimes it can manifest in a way where you're constantly angry because you haven't dealt with all that pain, that anger that you've been carrying around for years, and you end up, you know, lashing out on your children. And funnily enough, I hear this time and time again, you know, even stories by men who have been physically abused by maybe their dads, you know, and they're walking around with all that anger and all that pain and, you know, really not able to have that clarity as to why their dad was like that. And one of the things I always say as well is that sometimes when we have parents that are physically abusive towards their children, it's interesting to really look at what their history was like, where they have come from, because 9 times out of 10 they had probably grown up in a dysfunctional household where they themselves may have experienced physical abuse, and so therefore they feel that is the way to deal with children who may, you know, talk too much or not do what they're told to do when they're supposed to do it. So many different issues. Okay, so we looked at substance abuse. People can turn to drugs. People can fall into depression. You know, it was quite sad, you know, just hearing about and this may have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Kate Spade, the lady, you know, that multi-millionaire, the woman who had that amazing brand and ended up committing suicide. She was depressed. Who knows why she was depressed? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to make any assumptions or whatnot. But, you know, depression is real. Depression is a serious thing. Who knows why people fall into depression? But if you've been through some form of trauma, some form of traumatic experience where you have experienced abuse, then in some cases that is probably one of the things that manifest if you're not able to deal with it, if you've not been able to deal with it and get some support and help around that. So depression is one. Also, it can affect your confidence and self-esteem. Hi, Priscilla. Thanks for joining. Glad you're here. Yeah, so it can affect your confidence and self-esteem. And I know all about that because for years after coming out of the relationship, so my confidence and self-esteem was already lost when I was in that relationship. And when I came out of it, it was, oh my gosh, I was like a different person. Like I said before, I didn't know who I was. You know, and I had so much fears about trying new things, doing different things, even just going back to college was a big chore for me. It was like, oh my God, can I do it? I didn't feel confident enough. You know, I started doubting myself. So I had all of these issues because of how I felt about myself, because of having low confidence and low self-esteem, that impacted the way or decisions that I made. Thankfully, I plucked up the courage to do it. And that's when my life changed. But, you know, it's important for us to know that confidence and having healthy confidence and self-esteem is very, very important as an individual. And it does help in terms of things that you're trying to pursue, things that you want to achieve in your life, you know. But if you've got low confidence and you've got low self-esteem, then it doesn't help. And time again, you know, with the work I do, I come across women, some of my clients, who lack the confidence and self-esteem, and they've got some amazing dreams and ability, you know, things that they want to achieve. But because they lack the confidence and the self-esteem, it holds them back. It cripples them. So they don't take any risks. They don't take any chances on themselves. And so they end up, you know, living a lie. They're not standing in their glory and really being who they want to be, living 100% through who they want to be. So confidence and self-esteem is a big thing. And also we begin to look at walking around with toxic energy. And I know, Deborah, you do some work around this as well. And so I know that you understand all of this in terms of the energy. You know, it's really, really important. And it's something that without you realizing it, you won't know. You don't know how you're walking around, but you can show up somewhere and people can feed off your energy. So if you're constantly feeling low, or you don't feel worthy, you don't see yourself as worthy, you don't feel good about yourself, you constantly feed yourself with negative messages, or I would say you've got that negative self-talk going on in your head in terms of not feeling like you're capable of doing anything or achieving anything, that can be a real issue and a real problem. And there's lots of individuals that walk around with this energy. You know, there's lots of individuals that walk around with this toxic energy, and it can affect so many areas of your life as well. So many. The thing is, I mean, I know you probably hear me say it's affecting so many areas of your life all the time, because it really does, until you understand that you have to release all of that hurt, that pain that you carry around with you, and you're able to let it go. Only then can you really, truly stand powerfully in your skin and be the person that you want to be. And to me, I mean, if you disagree, fine. But, you know, I've seen it time and time again. And not only that, I'm also a testament to that, because I know when I was, hanging around with certain people and I was feeling a certain way and I experienced certain things, it didn't do me any good. It didn't do me any good. But when I changed how I started to think, when I changed how I started to feel about myself, and trust me, it took work. It takes work. It wasn't an overnight thing. And this is the thing, people need to understand that it's not an overnight thing. Working to heal yourself is possible. It's painful, but I think it's necessary. But the pain, or the how would I say that? The freedom, the emotional freedom outweighs that pain. Because the pain is only for the moment as you're dealing and you're going through the motions and you're unraveling and getting things out. But then what you get on the other side of that, oh my gosh, what you get on the other side of that is amazing, is absolutely amazing. There's a Bible scripture. Now, I'm not a pastor, but I do know, I think it's Romans 12, I think. It says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So what does that mean? It means that if you renew your mind, if you think differently, if you change your thoughts, change your thinking, you can be a renewed person. You can be a renewed person. And all I've got to say with that is hallelujah, because I've lived that. I have absolutely lived that. So it's really, really important for us to understand the energy that we walk around with. And it's all linked. It's all linked to, you know, feeling angry, bottling up anger and not being able to deal with the hurt, the pain, the self-condemnation, the guilt, the shame, the blame. All of that is all tied up. Yeah. And it's important for us to understand that. I think once we understand it and we're ready and willing to do the work, then we can be transformed. Okay. Just want to read some comments. Okay. So Priscilla, your words alone will help many people. Thank you, my dear, who are living in denial. Yes. But you know what it is, Priscilla? Yes, part of it is denial. I also think that people are scared. I honestly believe that women are scared. Women are scared to go back. Women are scared to go back into that pain because it's painful. It's painful. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It's painful to go back. But like I said before, that is only temporary. It's temporary while you're actually uncovering and working through the motions to change things. But like I said, what you get on the other side of that, priceless. And that is more long-lived. That's more long-lived. So Deborah, you've put, love what you're doing, help people to get out of these emotions. As you know, I've been there, and what you are saying is key. Yes, my sister. Yes, my sister. And I will say my sister, Deb, because you know. Yeah, you know where I'm coming from when I say that. Okay, so you know I absolutely agree, and you know it's really important. It's really key for people to know this. It's really key for people to know this. And Rosemary, thank you for joining, my sister. Glad that you are here. So let's move on. So looking at how all of these things can affect an individual, like bottled up emotions. This, to me, just leads to a downward spiral. It just leads to a downward spiral. And it doesn't serve us any purpose. All it does, it hinders us, it blocks us. And if we've got kids, now for me, this is a big thing. If you've got kids, especially for mothers are always around their children. They're always around their children more than fathers if you live in a household with both male and female. Yeah, mothers are always around their children. And if you're a single parent as well, then you're constantly with your child. If you are walking around with toxic energy, your children pick up on that. Now you can believe that on if you want or not. Children pick up on that. Children can pick up on that. And we also have to understand that whatever we are showing our children, they are going to do it. They are going to do it. So if we are individuals, if we are women that are holding ourselves back, we don't want to take risks, you know, we live in our comfort zone, we never ever want to try anything new, then don't be surprised if you rear children that are like that. Because children see examples in front of them. They're learning from us all the time. So if you've got children and you're a mother that's confident and you know you yourself are taking risks and you're teaching, I think if you yourself are taking risks, you automatically you are instilling those values in them. Not only so the children are getting it in two ways. They're actually seeing it in the physical, so they're actually seeing mum doing this and that, and they're actually hearing it as well. And so for me, that's really important. And it's, you know, for mothers that are out there that that have children, it's very, very key. And if you've been in a relationship where you've experienced abuse and you don't want your children to experience what you've gone through, then we really need to really uncover how you can release and let go of all of this pain. Yeah. Excuse me. Really got to look at how you can get over this emotion which is caused by abuse. It's really, really important. You know, hearing it, women say, you know, women that I've worked with, some of my clients say to me, you know, when you ask them, you know, what is it that you want to achieve? 9 times out of 10, they always say, I don't want my children to go through what I've gone through. I want my children to have a better life. I want my children to have relationships that are loving and respectful. And so to me, that says a lot. That says a lot. And so for women, it's really, really important for us to understand that whatever we are doing, saying, it's showing. We are passing these things on to our children. And without them even realizing it, unconsciously, we are transferring stuff onto them. And so we need to be mindful of that. Hi, Esther. Thank you for joining. Glad to see you. And so when we look at all of these things carrying around anger or bottling up anger, how does this manifest? So like I said before, you can begin to be fearful. Yeah? Fearful of everything. You know, fearful of trying new things, fearful of stepping out of your comfort zone, and just riddled with fear, doubt. To me, that's not healthy. Another one could be frustration. And to me, if you're fearful all the time, but you want something different without doing something different, you become frustrated. Yeah? But then we can't become frustrated if we are doing it to ourselves. Yeah. So it's about us having that awareness about what we are doing. How are we talking to ourselves? What are we saying about ourselves? Yeah. And doing something about that. And in some cases, some individuals begin to be resentful. You can resent your partner, whoever, whether it was your boss that said something, whether it was your friends that said something that you didn't like. Yeah. You can become resentful. And attach that as well as all the other things. I like to say they're badges. Yeah. When we walk around with stuff, I'm not worthy. I don't love myself. No one's going to want me. Nobody ever likes me. I'm never going to achieve anything good. I always fall into these types of relationship. When we talk to ourselves like that, we're only going to get that. Yeah. So it's important for us to understand that we need to renew ourselves. We really need to do that. But that only comes when we are able to go through that healing process of uncovering, what has been paralyzing you, what has kept you stuck. When we're able to do that, then we can be all shiny and new on the other side. And it's sometimes, it's very sad when I come across women that are like 65, 60 and 65, and have never ever dealt with any of the trauma, any pain through abuse. Never dealt with it. That really breaks my heart. And I guess that's the reason why I do the work that I do in schools. The preventative work that I do with young people through my LiveWise program, really teaching them about self-love, self-worth, talking to them about healthy and safe relationships, so that, ultimately it's setting them up for a life well lived. They can begin to make better choices for themselves now that they have the tools, they know certain things, they've got more awareness, they can make better decisions for themselves. That is the reason why I do the work that I do with the young people, because there's too many women, in their old age or middle age, that have not been able to deal with this. And it's a problem. Yeah, it can become a problem. So what was I saying? So we looked at fear, frustration, resentment, inadequacy. You feeling that you are inadequate, that you are not good enough. You can't, go for a promotion. You can't, Just do maybe a simple thing as maybe cooking a meal. Yeah, you'd be surprised. You know, how many women have lost themselves, have been so hard downtrodden on through abusive relationships that they view themselves as inadequate. They can't do anything good because they've been knocked so many times. Yeah. And when we look at how all of these things will begin to affect an individual, sometimes people just retreat. They just retreat and stay by themselves. And then the loneliness sets in, depression sets in. It's just a downward spiral. A downward spiral. Yeah. So my third step is, how could you turn this around? So now we're looking at, how could you turn this around? How could you turn this around so that you can begin to walk in your power? And when I say walk in your power, I mean just being who you are, the realness of who you are. You are unique. Yeah? You are unique. So it's about understanding that no one has your thumbprint. No one has your, your unique thumbprint. You are unique. There is something that is unique to you alone only. And it's about understanding that. Yeah. So how could you turn this around? For me, you need to get a new perspective. You need to see yourself from a different perspective. That's the only way. You need to see yourself from a different perspective. And looking at yourself from a different perspective, people can say different things. People can say, I can look at myself from God's perspective in terms of the way God sees me. Now, I call God, people call different things. People say the universe, spirit, whoever you look to, the creator, the person that created you, that manifested all of this glory, abundance, beauty in this world, also created you uniquely. Yeah? Uniquely. It's about us understanding that we are unique and that we have something great in us. We have something great to offer. But if we don't know that, then it does become a problem and it does keep us stuck. So it's about you understanding that, that there is, you are here for a purpose. Yeah. God has a purpose for your life. He absolutely has a purpose for your life. And he wants you to see your abilities, your talents, your skills, and fulfill them to the highest level. Now, whatever that may mean to you, you might have somebody that can bake cakes a certain way, it tastes a certain way, and the presentation, and nobody else does it like them. Yeah, that is something that's unique to you. Yeah, now that is a huge thing for somebody. Yeah, it could be something else. It could be modeling. It could be writing poetry, whatever it could be to you. But it's understanding that you have a unique talent that is designed for you, and ultimately knowing that God wants you to fulfill that to the highest possible level that you can, knowing that you've got no regrets, that you have lived your life knowing, you know what, I've got no regrets. I've done the things that I've wanted to do in life. I've done the things that I've wanted to do in life. It takes time, it takes work, but understanding that you are going to fulfill your dreams, your desires to the highest possible level. Okay? He also wants you to believe in yourself. This is the thing. It's important for individuals to believe in themselves. Yeah? Because people can believe in you. That's brilliant. But if you don't believe in yourself, it's a non-starter. It's a non-starter. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. Whatever it is that you're doing, you have to believe that it's going to work. You have to have that confidence to step out, and even step out even if you're scared. Even if you're scared, there's so many things that I've stepped out on in my life, shaking, you know, screw face, but I've done it. In my book, I talk about when, oh my God, and it was literally when I just came out of this DV relationship. Sorry, just grabbing some water there. And it was like a few months after I left that relationship, and Nigerian independence was coming up. And there was a designer who knew my brother and wanted us to do a fashion show for Nigerian independence. And my sister was there, my brother, I was there, and there were some other models. I weren't a model. Yeah, there were some other people there, you know, doing in this fashion show. And I never forget when we got to, I think it was in Hammersmith. I wouldn't say Palladium, anyway, in some theatre or some hall or club or something in Hammersmith. It was massive. All I know that when I looked at that crowd, there were so many people there, so many people. I can't even count. The place was packed. Okay, and I remember that there was 2 outfits made specifically for me to wear and walk out on my own. There were some other outfits that I had to wear with other girls and would walk out on the stage, and that's okay because you're with other people. So, you know, I felt confident that other people were with me. But then there was these 2 dresses. One was an evening gown, very lovely blue silk satin with like a crochet bodice at the top. It was lovely. And they wanted me to walk out in that on my own. I did it. I was scared. But I tell you, I was walking. I had a lot of issues still going on. And when I walked out on stage, all I remember was I tried to walk as quick as possible on and get off the stage as quick as I could. And I remember as I walked to the front of the stage and I walked back, somebody at the back was going, walk again, go again. You went too quick. So I had to walk again. And I remember this girl shouted out at the front of the stage, smile. And I was like, oh my gosh. I smiled, I giggled. I think I giggled out of nervousness. And then I walked off. But when I checked myself, you know, I would say that I was still walking around with a lot of pain, a lot of guilt, blame, all of the stuff that I've talked about, you know, all that bottled up anger and so forth. Yeah, because of the abuse. But at the end of the day, even though I was scared to do it, I still did it. And I think that's where the game changes. Knowing that you're scared to do something, but you still do it. And it changed. When I say the game changes, it changes for you because once you step out, you then begin to realize that, gosh, I can do more. I can. You know what I mean? And so it's about understanding that. You need to realize that you're unique. You want to express yourself, be able to express yourself in the way that you want to, having your own opinions. And most importantly, I think you need to understand that God loves you. Yeah? If no one in this world loves you, know that God loves you, and know that once you have that love, that's what's going to keep you going. Yeah? Even when someone is experiencing or displaying negative feelings or behaviors towards you, it's about you understanding that God loves you. Yeah? And that is unconditional. That is unconditional. And so today, you know, we have talked a lot, or I would say I've talked a lot. And like I said at the beginning, you know, if this is something that you want to pursue, then you can inbox me, you know, and let's have a conversation about that. But I'm hoping that with all of what I've talked about today, that if you're going through this right now, that at least you can take 1 or 2 steps and start using it in your life. And trust me, it will make a difference. It really will make a difference. And so I just want to thank you all for being here, for joining me, for all your comments, Priscilla, Deborah. You know, I really appreciate that. And so for anybody that's listening today, I'm offering a couple free discovery sessions, only for 6 people. Yeah. So only for 6 people. So if this is something, or if you've heard anything that's resonated with you, then inbox me. You can inbox me on Messenger. I've put my email in the link on Facebook. So inbox me. You can inbox me, Victoria@Spectacular Woman, or send me a message, inbox me on Facebook. And like I said before, because you've joined me today, and like one of the things I always say, everything happens in the right way. Nothing happens by chance. The fact that you are here listening to me today, you've been drawn here for a reason. You've been drawn here for a reason. And so only for the first six, I'm offering free discovery sessions, a 30-minute session with me, so that, to help you get some clarity over, your life, in terms of being able to maybe just uncover some of these emotions that you may have experienced. So yeah, if this is something, or if you've heard anything that's resonated, then like I said before, message me on Facebook or drop me an email at Victoria@Spectacular-Woman. So once again, thank you so much for joining me and for all your lovely comments, and I look forward to talking some more with you. I'm wishing all of you a wonderful and blessed week. Bye for now. Take care. Bye. So when you